Hey everyone, it's Chantal Girardi here from Online Business Marketing, and today we're going to talk about something that I actually forgot about that was such a good lead generation tool. And then in one of our post chats with my VIP group, I was talking about this particular lead generation tool with a couple of the VIPs, and I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't even included this. Like, in my 37 lead generation tools, it wasn't even included in there. So I was like, we definitely need to create a training on this, because I personally forgot how it actually impacted and grew my business and was a major part of my customer growth in my business, particularly on the Gold Coast when I first moved here from South Africa. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about the platform called Meetup. So today we're going to talk about leveraging Meetup as a powerful lead generation tool. And as usual, I'm going to include how you can use it for e-commerce and service-based businesses. So for those of you who don't know, Meetup is a popular online platform that facilitates offline group gatherings based on shared interests and activities. And I think those are really the key words: group gatherings based on shared interests and activities. So it's about attracting like-minded people together into a group. And there's so much power in that, because obviously that can leverage know, like, and trust. So if you think about the Facebook group strategy, of which we've discussed in previous masterclasses, on how a Facebook group is there to attract like-minded people strategically into that group, to then strategically put them through a process to turn them into customers, Meetup is something different, but very much the same. And we're going to talk about that today. So it brings together local communities to create, explore, and pursue their passions. So whether or not you're e-commerce or service-based, and I have seen this work for both, it can be a valuable lead generation tool to expand your customer base and build brand trust. So this was a really interesting statistic, of which I asked Google for, but it said, according to a study conducted by Meetup, businesses that actively participate in Meetup events experience a boost in customer engagement and brand trust. They found that 72% of businesses reported increased brand loyalty, and 73% of attendees said they were more likely to purchase from a brand after attending a Meetup event. 73% said they would purchase from somebody that they met at a Meetup event. This data highlights Meetup's effectiveness as a customer generation platform and a means to build brand trust. And I'm going to share with you my story, my example, and how I used it as well. But again, it has to be done strategically. It can't be done half-assly, and it has to have a strategy, meaning an outcome in mind. So firstly, how does Meetup work, and how do you set up your profile? So to get started with Meetup, and it's just meetup.com, you need to create an account on the platform. You can then set up a profile for your business, providing a clear description of what you offer to who, and as usual, your points of difference and the pain or the problem that you generally see your niche have and experience, and how you can overcome that, like what your level of expertise is in that space. And I know that, recently when I went on and I found a girls, it's a free women's fusion dance class on a Saturday, of which two lovely ladies here have already gone and boogied with me with. Hold on a sec. Is that the Wi-Fi? Hopefully that hangs in there. And when we went to the Meetup event is free. It just says come and dance. I go and I dance for free. I leave. And this particular lady is not telling us who she is, what she does, and how she, because the whole purpose of getting us there would to be build that know, like, and trust, not just to give us a free 2-hour dance session, because it's 2 hours. And she doesn't even say who she is, how to connect with her, where to find her online, what she actually sells. I have no idea. She could sell lingerie. She could be an MLM business. She could be a massage therapist. She could be a dance teacher. I've got no idea. And I've been now for three dance sessions. So just gives you an idea of when we do these things take time. Meetup costs money. Posting on Meetup takes up time. The event that she ran takes up time. The follow-up strategy takes up time. You have to make sure you have an outcomes-based strategy of how you're going to take those relationships or those events and turn them into customers. So now you can go on and you can find relevant groups to connect with. So for example, if Tara is in the caravanning space, she can go in and she can join as her business profile. She can go join those other caravanning interest groups on Meetup to have a sticky beak and see what they're doing and engage in those groups. Or alternatively, Tara can go set up her own group and attract caravanners into this group and provide training, resources, support, or advice for caravanners. And then, of course, upsell her Dreamer RV product, mattress topper. Okay, perfect example of how that can happen. And of course, it can happen online or it can happen in person. So you could choose to do in-person events or online events. So for example, with Sally, I said to Sally, she's in Nerang, she could hold an event for health, wellness, and fitness entrepreneurs. And I'll use my example later on, offer them some support, either as a referral partner, and then also say, how, by the way, I've got a space you can use. And that literally was the strategy I used when I had the Fit Hub in Burleigh, and I'll share that story with you a little bit later. So setting it up, number one, you've got to create the Meetup group, but again, you've got to create it strategically. So you need to choose a relevant, catchy name that reflects your business or interest. So my strategy was, I'm on the Gold Coast. I have a health, wellness, and fitness center. I need more subcontractors rent space for my group. So I held a meetup called Gold Coast Health, Wellness, and Fitness Entrepreneurs. That was the name of it, because I wanted to attract those people all into a space so I could build a relationship with them. I attracted them literally to the Fit Hub so they could actually see the space. And I use that as part of my customer generating funnel. Then you need to write a clear and compelling group description that outlines the benefits of joining the group and participating in your events. So not only do we want them to join the events, but what's in it for them. So now I've said, right, this is for Gold Coast Health, Wellness, and Fitness Entrepreneurs. I want you to join, and I think it was for 2 hours on a Friday once a month. And I want you to come to the Fit Hub. But why? Why must they take those 2 hours out and come and see me? So for me, what I did is I got business coaches, marketing experts, and everyone else in that sort of space to come and provide a presentation at those events that would support their businesses. And ironically, when I couldn't find a speaker, I spoke on how I used online marketing, and that's how I fell into this business. So it's funny how the world flies around, but often when I couldn't get a speaker, that's what I did. So write a compelling group, tell them why they must follow the group, why they must join the group, tell them when, like what they can expect from you and what you expect from them. But it's about building those relationships, and then it's about the strategy or the outcome. Okay. So for example, Daryl could have a meetup event, and it could be for anyone who uses items for that corrode and wants an extra, or for influencers that are looking for another income stream. So influencers that are looking for another income stream, he could have a meetup group for that. The influencers could come once a week. He could give them tips and strategies and marketing stuff, because Daryl's learned so much over the years that he's been with us. He could give them a couple of tips of how to be an influencer and how to grow their online profile. And in there, he can say, hey, by the way, Strikehold will give you this commission if you join and become an affiliate. And you're growing, of course, your email list as well. So then you need to use high quality visuals and branding elements to make sure that your group is also visually appealing. All right. So number two then is you've got to define your target audience. So again, strategy based. What are their demographics? What are their interests? What are their preferences? So they're non-negotiables of your ideal customer. And that needs to be communicated, because we spoke about the value of having a quality leads list, meaning qualifying those people. So for example, if someone is not wanting to improve themselves, is not interested in personal development, they wouldn't be able to go to someone like Jay, Allison, or Mayi. Okay. If they were, nah, I don't care. I'm the bee's knees. I don't need help. It doesn't matter how much Mai, Alison, Jay, or even Sally said, hey, listen, you could do this, you wouldn't be able to get anything. So it's really important that the title and the description clearly communicates your non-negotiables of who you want. Be so specific. So you don't get time wasters, but you get the real deal. And then, of course, tailor your event topics to address the specific needs and interests of your audience. So, you know, I spoke to Rachel a little bit earlier today, and I was like, what can you do for like pest control, you know, because she's on the Gold Coast. But if she was to have a coffee catch-up once a month for businesses on the Gold Coast, she's attracting businesses on the Gold Coast for a coffee catch-up on how we can support and network and leverage each other as a free networking event. And then from there, go, hey, I do pest control. She's now built a relationship with them. The next time their business is going to need pest control, they're going to go to her. And it's costing her, I don't know, $5 for a coffee and a Friday afternoon. But obviously, you have to understand there is time attached to this, right? There's money. Meetup is not expensive, but you do have to pay for it. I think it's an annual amount of, don't quote me, about $100. Can't remember, but have a look. But there is obviously going to be a time component. But if you set up like a monthly event and ran that monthly event inside there, that could be a great customer generator, because now she's getting quality clients who've got businesses. So rather than her going and doing a small residential pest control or termite inspection, she's now got other businesses that are there, Gold Coast businesses. Cool. So number 3, you can organize them in person or online. So you can host in person at events at suitable venues, or your own store, or particular locations, or even in, honestly, I've seen people actually held them in the park under sort of barbecue areas as well. But you can also conduct them online. So for example, another marketing person that we know, he runs a weekly Tuesday. I think it's a Tuesday night. He gets in guests all the time. He holds his webinars. He markets them through Meetup. And recently I got my first client through Meetup, where they attended one of my webinars, which I set up through Meetup. They attended and then signed up to my program. And my Meetup is called Do It Yourself. No, I'm going to have to find it now. It's called Business Owners Who DIY their own marketing and customer generation. Okay. Business owners who DIY their own marketing and customer generation. So is that going to attract my ideal client? Yes, I hope so. And then they follow it, and then obviously they join in on the webinars that we market through there. So, and those are online events as well. So they are free. That is a free webinar. Some people do paid Meetup events as well. So by all means, you can do that. There's a lot of sort of weekly meetings, or there are a lot of membership groups in that where they might actually have a charge for it. Like I went to a 3-hour breathwork journey the other day, and that was $50. And I happily just went in, read the description, read the name. And I paid the $50. More than happy to do that. So it's up to you. They're obviously using it. That's customer generation. They're literally getting customers off there, but you can use it as lead generation, meaning going and spending that time once a month. I wouldn't recommend more than that if it's free. Once a month, holding those meetings, getting those people and developing those relationships, and then being able to sell them into something. So number 4 is, at these events, it's really important for you to provide value by showing your expertise. So although, because me just being a little personal trainer who's like winging my business, and I'm now holding this Meetup group to attract these people in, and I thought, I've got to get these experts in. So I kept bringing these experts in. I still had to introduce myself at the beginning of every event, explain what my mission or my vision of having those meetings was, introduce the guest speaker that I had, and then at the end again say, if you're interested in partnering with me or becoming a referral partner or utilizing my space, let's have a chat and stay afterwards. But sharing your expertise as well is really important. As I said, I actually started providing content at these events because I was bringing in all these experts, and sometimes I felt like they weren't talking at the level that the people who were attending really needed. And me not being a marketer, for some reason, I was able to explain it in layman's terms, how to actually get results. So they found it more practical and more approachable. Hence, people still like me for those reasons with my marketing. So yes, constantly being aware of the people who's coming, what their pain points are, and constantly offering solutions to establish yourself and build authority with them. So number 5 then is then offering exclusive benefits to members. I've seen this on Meetup where some of them actually charge an annual fee. So for example, that bicycle group that I went to recently, they charge a $5 fee if you want to stay in the group and carry on coming. So after your first free event, you just pay $5 for the year. But that $5, if they've got 300 people in the group, they've made 1,500, and they've basically, that pays for them for their time to run the platform and to do it. I know that I did actually start charging for Meetup. I started charging $5. And I had someone go, "Why are you charging $5?" And I was like, "Are you kidding me? I'm providing coffee, snacks, putting the event on. If you can't pay $5, I don't really want you coming anyway." But yeah, so you just do get people like that as well. But yes, you can actually charge for the events, or you could just charge a once-off annual fee as well if you want to keep those people in the events and make it worth their while. Or alternatively, as being a part of that group. So for example, with everyone on this call, you could either offer them a first-time buyer's discount. So, once you built that relationship with them, you can say, "Look, if you're a member of this group, you get 10% off my services." I would go so far as to say, if you in the group plus attend the meetings, you could get a discount. You don't want them in the group and they're not attending meetings and not coming. So, but you can obviously look at that. So you can give them special offers, discounts, access to exclusive products or services. You can even use them for surveying, which is really important. But you can even get these people to go and invite more of their type of people, which is awesome, because we all know that those type of people know more of those type of people. And, Bill from Tailor Farm, he's always saying this, the most sort of lead generation that he gets is from the people who already go to his event, because they know more people like themselves and get them to come along. I would then encourage you to please get the email addresses. So once they are in Meetup and they have signed up, you can message them inside Meetup. But again, it would be really good to share with them a link and just say, "Please complete this form," because this way you could just automate that process. So therefore, they could fill out the form. You could tag them as Meetup in your email software. So when you go to email out in your newsletter, you can now email out to those Meetup people. So I would segment them like that and keep an email list for those Meetup people. Because yeah, you could certainly do launches, pre-launches, and different competitions and all sorts of other things with them as well. So number six then would be fostering community engagement. So like I said, all these things require a bit of time. So really, you could go in once a week, make sure that you're responding to messages, make sure that you're connecting with people, answering any questions they may have, and making sure that your events are up to date, and you have provided adequate information inside the groups as well. Because obviously responding is really important as well if people are asking questions. But I've just got my Meetup notifications, so I just get notifications through and I can just respond and ask questions. So the usual one I get is, "Sorry, I can't make the event. Will this be recorded and can you email it to me?" And I just say, "Subscribe on the website if you want the recordings." And that way, at least I'm collecting their email addresses. So number 7 is promote the events effectively. So all these things are great. You've got it up on Meetup, and inside Meetup, you can continue to message and go into other groups and engage, but you still need to send it out to your email list. You still need to be posting on social media. You still need to be putting it onto your website. And you can either send them to Meetup to complete the registration and look after that process there. But for me, generally, because I'm running webinars, I just get them to register through Zoom, because that way I can collect all my registrations in one place and monitor them. And in fact, even in Meetup, I will say register on Zoom, register on Zoom, register on Zoom. So you've just got to think about where is the endpoint on social media, on your website, and using Meetup. And you don't want 3 different endpoints. You don't want these guys coming in through Meetup, these guys coming in through email, you want them to go to one place. And wherever that one place is, make sure you send them to it. Although Meetup does actually have a built-in communication messaging tool, but a lot of the members don't turn on their message receipts, meaning that, and I only know this because I went on a bicycle ride to the Northern Rivers recently, and the organizer of the event was saying that she had 20 people who clicked going to the event. They're sitting there waiting for the 20th person to arrive, and that person hasn't actually gone in and said, I'm not going. So we're waiting for someone who's actually never going to come. And then when they tried to message the person, that particular person didn't know how to use the profile, hadn't turned on her message, her incoming messages, which means there was no way of contacting that person to say, are you running late? Must we wait for you? Mustn't we wait for you? So really important to note that some people in Meetup who are using Meetup don't know how to use Meetup. And that might be you as well as you first get to explore the platform. But some people don't know that. So for me, in the description, I always will put my email address. I don't really want them calling me, but my email address. If it's something like the bicycle ride, I would have said, contacted me. If we're meeting at 2, contact me, latest 5:50, and let me know if you're running late, if I've got to wait for you. Just have your T's and C's defined in there. But yeah, I definitely don't like to continue to talk to them through Meetup. One of my fundamentals is get people the hell of social media. I think Meetup's the same. Get people off Meetup as quickly as possible. It's much easier to communicate with them off Meetup. You can measure and analyze results. So you can track attendance, member engagement, conversion rates, all using Meetup. And then you can analyze the data to identify any successful strategies and areas for improvement. So it certainly does help to build your email list. Number 9 is collaborate with influencers and partners. So you can collaborate with, just like you would do online in social media or email marketing or in a competition, collaborate with industry influencers or complementary businesses to co-host events and expand your reach and credibility. So I'll give you an example. The brewery that I work for, they do the beer tasting once a month. The bicycle ride, who I would never have thought to put the two of them together. The people I did the bicycle ride with, I'd said that 2 days before I'd been to this beer tasting event. They were like, we would love to do a social event at the beer tasting event. Can we do that? So therefore, the beer tasting event's now going on to the bicycle event. And the bicycle event, we will now get the beer tasting event to promote. So now we're in front of each other's audience. So treat it like a social media platform and utilize the strategies that previously I've taught you with joint collaborations. So number 10 is following up with attendees. And I think this is really important, like messaging people and again, just @ing them, tagging them, following up just to make sure that, thank you for clicking going to the event, exactly like they do on Facebook and LinkedIn. They tick going to the event, but they haven't registered. So again, follow up at the person and say, thanks very much. You haven't actually registered. Here's the registration link. Please be sure to fill out this registration or else you're going to miss the event. Again, following up at the end of the event, tagging them, thanking them for their participation, offering them additional resources or promotions. So you could give them your lead magnet, you could give them a catalog, you could give them a 10% discount, whatever that follow-up strategy would be. Remembering that it has to be a cohesive end-to-end strategy, meaning that however you got them in the beginning and whatever they experienced with you, the offer is logical to them at the end, as long as it's end-to-end. Remember, end-to-end strategies are super important, has to be logical to them. Then you can gather feedback and reviews as well. So for example, I don't know, Tara could go in and say, caravanners that have got their mattresses, we're looking to do a survey and see how you experience your mattress, because then she's got an entire catalog or resource of bad experiences on beds that she can use in social media content by surveying people that have had terrible experiences with mattresses and caravans, and then say to them, thank you so much for your for completing the survey and giving us your feedback. Here's a discount for your mattress topper. And then, of course, if they have attended your event as well, of course, you can get reviews from them as well. So saying, thank you so much for coming to my my wine and candle event. Thank you so much for coming. Could you leave us a review? And of course, they can leave that review on Meetup. You can repurpose that review from Meetup across your other social media platforms, but it will help to grow your events on Meetup. Number 12 is stay consistent and engaging. So again, like every social media platform, if you decide to do it, and this is what I said to Rachel, it's like, Rachel, I don't know if you're going to do it. Like, I don't know if you're going to do it like if it's once a month and you're going to have to go in and manage that. Is that worth that to you? And you're going to have to stay consistent and you're going to have to stay engaged. I kind of now thinking it may, because, you know, Rachel has some issues with some networking groups. And I think this might be a way to basically have her own sort of event and basically meet with all the referral partners in one place, as opposed to having to meet up with referral partners, you know, 10 times a month. Okay. So continuously make sure that whoever is coming to your event, that you're aware of, you know, their needs and what they want, and making sure that you're tailoring future events and content to support their interests and needs. So now I'm going to give you some examples. So we'll first talk about strategies for e-commerce businesses. So e-commerce businesses can benefit from organizing, you know, in-person events or online events that align with their brand and their products. For example, a company selling outdoor gear can host a hiking or camping event. The strategy not only allows them to showcase their products, but also creates an opportunity to engage with potential customers in a meaningful way. You know, if Tara is at an expo in Moreton Bay, a caravanning expo, if she had a meetup group, she could post that she's there. And the whole year round, she's been like sort of growing this meetup group, then post that she's there doing demos at the expo event and they could come and see her there. So that's an example of an e-commerce business. But I have also had a homewares business. The lady sold Bali homewares. She didn't want people coming to her house. So instead, what she did was she ran a monthly, so I think it was like the first Friday of every month. She did it at a coffee shop. She obviously spoke to the coffee shop, bought in some of her homewares, sat there religiously every Friday for 2 hours at that time, you know, the first Friday of every month. And eventually she actually had people in the restaurant buying. She had people working in the restaurant buying. Her meetup group grew, and everybody knew that they could come and buy stuff, and they could either order it from her or buy it and see it. And if nobody attended, she actually told me, like, if nobody attended, she sat there and she would just work and or sell to people that were in the restaurant. Like, people would naturally come up to her and say, listen, can I buy that? So, you know, it's another great way for e-commerce businesses to do that. For service-based businesses, you can leverage Meetup by providing valuable workshops, seminars, or webinars based on your expertise. You can basically establish yourself as a thought leader and share some valuable insights. Service-based businesses can attract potential clients who are genuinely interested in their services. And again, for me, it's about saying, here is a lead magnet, obviously relevant to them. Book a call if you want to book a call. Here, you can register for my webinar over here, and all of that is in my description in my Meetup, because I don't just want them to join my Meetup group. I want to get them the hell of social media and into my email database, because that's where I'm going to look after them. So by sharing valuable tips and actionable advice, you can demonstrate your expertise and you're able to deliver them results. Attendees who find the workshop helpful are more likely to consider using that agency. And I think this is really important. You know, they've taken the time, they've gone there, they've built a relationship with you, so they're more likely to use you. And I always forget about it. But, you know, when I used to run those entrepreneurs meetups, I ended up hosting an event. I had a networking group ask me to host an event of panelists of international surfers at a business networking event, because I had a gym and because I was running these events. They contacted me because they didn't know who else to sort of use. And they thought, well, I spoke well, so they'll just use me. So I ended up getting that event. I ended up getting another speaking event elsewhere because of that event. So it did position me as a leader. I mean, there was thousands of other personal trainers on the Gold Coast, but me having that gave me authority in the industry. And it did open up a whole bunch of other opportunities. It also got me onto the Gold Coast City Council, what are they called? Just gone blank. Gold Coast City Council, there's a name for them. It's like the Entrepreneurs Meetup or something. And yeah, now I'm an educator for them as well. So those are some examples for you. So to use it, if you decide to use it, make sure you have an end-to-end strategy. Think about the outcome first that you're hoping to achieve. Think about how you can achieve that outcome. Think about who are those people that you're trying to attract. Think about a title that's going to attract them. Think about events that are going to keep them coming back. And then think about, that end-to-end funnel of how you're going to get them off social media and how you're going to turn those leads into customers. So super exciting. I can't believe I forgot about Meetup and what a valuable tool it was as a lead generation or customer generation tool. And it certainly does work as well for service-based businesses. So even for myself as a coach, as I said, I got somebody into a webinar. From that webinar, I sold them into a program. So Meetup has paid for itself. But I've probably been on there almost a year before I got my first client, but certainly worth it for me. So you just have to remain consistent. And you just have to have a strategy, and also then track how many people you're actually building your database with as well, which is awesome. So I'm going to leave it there today for those that are watching on YouTube or watching the recording. If you would like to be part of the live audience, you do need to be a client or a VIP member. Simply book a call and find out how we can work together. And then because we're actually going to go now behind the scenes and we're going to have a little chit chat, and you miss out in that little chit chat. You miss out on the little networking events, and you miss out on being able to ask your questions and get feedback from me. So goodbye to all those that are watching online, and hello to our live audience.